Hi guys, and welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. This is episode number 34. I think we've got plenty of questions again, so thank you for everybody sending in the questions. I've got a couple like Mike Oxmall, so I'm not going to get caught by them. One of them is horrendous. It's like, you really think I'm going to read that and not realise?
What is it?
It's sort of about fisting. It's like, will my fist fit? Something like as in fit, like Reese fit. Will my fist fit? Will my fist fit? I think it is. Like, I'm going to read that out and go, oh, I don't know that person. Like,
Yeah,
we're on the lookout for any other Mike Oxmalls. But
yeah.
I just, I listened to it back and I didn't properly say. I was like, Mike
You
Oxmal.
did at the start, and then you followed up with the Coxmal. You're like Coxmal.
Yeah,
so you said
Oxmal, did I? Because that's not his name. His name's Mike Oxmal.
Oxmal. Oh yeah, but and then you said Mike. You originally said it, Mike, like Ox. You said Oxmal, like
I did.
Mike
Oxmal.
No, you said that afterwards. Your first one, you said
no, first one was that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, maybe it's Mike Oxmal. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's not a very good one, though, is it? It's not a very good one.
I feel like maybe, I don't know. It was because the way you said it, because I didn't have it in front of me. I feel like maybe
that's not a good one. There's loads of better ones than that. I mean, I don't know any, but there is.
Yeah, I feel like there definitely is. And to be fair, like, it's interesting because we even got, like, I got it mentioned to me by like 3 clients.
I've had loads of people messaging me,
and I was like, and they were like, just in case you didn't know. And I'm like, mate, you're the 20th person to tell me.
We've been told plenty of times.
Yeah. It's even been on my story. Like 2 or 3 people have put it on their stories. All right, like, obviously we know. It was like 45 minutes in. We're probably not paying too much attention, and we were probably actually just thinking, oh, I wonder if it's a guy who's actually got a training plan and it's something different.
I didn't even think like. I said to you, like, after the podcast, I read it again, and I was like, is that one of them? But even then, I was like, Mike Oxmall. I was like, it's not very good if it's supposed to be Mike Oxmall. Like, it's not that good. But if I say Mike Oxmall, that sounds like Mike Oxmall. Like, it is good, but the way I was saying it, it's not very good.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been confirmed that both our cocks are tiny. So
yeah. That's why it wasn't. That's why we didn't like bat an eyelid, because we were so used to saying Mike Oxmall.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I literally say that every day. I have to tell Shannon every day, like, yeah, my cock's small. I know, it's disappointing, but my cock's
I usually get told. I don't say it. I get told.
Yeah, so I've been told that many times. I just sort of let them know beforehand, even though Shannon's seen it probably 10 times, maybe 10, 11 times. I've seen it about 10 times.
It does. Imagine you said, like, oh, by the way, like, you're a year in, my cock's tiny. Just looked at you like they were like, didn't know.
They'd be like, yeah, I know it is. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah, but no. So yeah, basically, hopefully we don't get done with one of those. I feel like we might do, to be fair. Like, not
we will, because we'll be on the lookout. We'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, mate, we're gonna have like 99 reactions. We are gonna be primed. You know, we're gonna be like a prime Petr Cech. That's what we're gonna be like. You know, 99 reactions. We should be all good. But yeah, last week, mate, how's it been? We got Dave. Is it Dave Black? I think is it Dave Peter Black? That's it. Got the name wrong. Dave. David. We got Big Pete. Big Peter Black videoed Finn of both of us technically on Monday. So by the time
it's my video, but Reese just can't stop talking to the camera. As soon as the camera comes out, Reese turns into a different person and takes over the video.
But the vast majority of YouTubers, to be fair, who video their training sessions, who when the camera's not on them, they don't make too much noise. The second the camera's on them, all right, then let's fucking go. That's how half the people are. But yeah, did a video on Monday. Like I said, so like Finn said, I took a little bit of I was just speaking. He kept coming up to me. He clearly wanted to listen to me and stuff like that, mate. So
no, so basically, he said to me at the start, he was like, right, after a set, I'll just film you. I'll pretty much be filming the whole time. If you want to talk, then talk. And I was like, yeah, that's sound. I was like, I don't want it to be where I'm explaining absolutely everything, because we're going to be filming more, and we've done that before and it's been done. Like, I'd rather just sort of it be a bit more realistic of how we are when we train. Yeah. But then Reese went on and proceeded to just not stop talking to the camera.
It's not how it is, but I'm guessing you can take vengeance, mate. We're doing my one on Saturday, so by the time this is out, Finn's video will probably be out. I think you're saying it's coming out on Friday,
so it'll be like Friday, so it'll be after this.
Okay, yeah, that's sound. And then my one will be the Monday following or whatever. Monday, Tuesday, I don't know. I'll think about a day. So that'll be on Saturday, and that's the deadlift session, which will be quite exciting. And I feel like we kind of spoke about doing like a weekly video and working backwards. So for example, Finn started on Monday's session. I'm starting on Saturdays. And then your next one is Tuesday, mine's Friday, and then we're just going to pretty much work backwards into a point where we've kind of videoed all our sessions for my channel, Finn's channel, and each one they'll be fairly similar. Like, we're not trying to kind of differentiate between, make sure this is different. We're just literally going to have an honest kind of, this is our training. If you want to watch, feel free. We might have a bit of a chit chat, but it's literally just going to be almost a more in-depth version of what we put on our stories when it comes to posts for training and stuff like that. But at the same time, like what Finn said, we both agree. We don't just want to be like, we're doing this exercise because of this. We wanted to have some explanation, but like initially, but then it's more so just, these are our sets. We're going to do the same exercises 6 months from now, but we're going to be a bit stronger.
Yeah, I almost feel like from a consumer standpoint, like this might be just because of the level that we're at. Like, I don't want to watch people explaining why they're doing everything. Like, yeah. I'll just watch people train. Like, obviously I don't watch that much, but like pre-workout, if I want to put a video on, I'll put a video on, but I'm more bothered about just watching them train, and just, even if they're just chatting shit, rather than them being like, right, so we're doing this because of this and the resistance profile. But maybe that's just because of where we're at, and we don't need to really know that anymore. So maybe I should be like, we should make it more educational. But then I almost think that, I think there's a time and a place for that. And I quite like just training and just being like, right, we'll just train. And if we chat about stuff, we will. If we don't, we don't. Like, there's no pressure on it. Like, I have to explain why I'm doing this, or I have to think about, why have we done that set? We need to tell everyone. It's like, I'm just going to train. Yeah,
no, makes sense. And I feel like, again, that's probably the best part of training. I feel like if we were to, let's say, go and train in a leisure centre, like, I think one thing that would, I'm not going to say hold us back, but I feel like we'd both be a bit like, I need to make a good exercise. I'm going to ban this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I feel like at times, some of the best sessions that I've had when I was younger, when I didn't really care too much, was when you just go to a different gym because you're seeing a different girl, or you're away on holiday and you just train and train.
Boy.
You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You know, when you're away from your usual kind of tendencies and like usual kind of routine, you're just like, right, I'm just going to train. Like, you don't really think too much of it. And I feel like we've been probably culprits. Everyone is like, you almost have to and try and create some of the most optimal training. Think about when we were in lockdown. Like, obviously we're trying to do exercise that suited us, but we still were like, right, well, we're just doing this because it's fun. We were like doing like really heavy one-arm dumbbell rows, like 2.5 hours into an upper session. That in that sequence probably didn't make too much sense. We were then doing like a weighted pull-up afterwards, which you could argue it'd be better to swap them around. But we were like, well, we want to do a heavy dumbbell row. I want to do a pull-up. The dumbbell row's heavier. We'll go with that first. And we were kind of just freestyling. It wasn't like, we're doing this because of that. We're doing this because of that. We were just thinking, let's just train, get stronger. Obviously, the exercise
doesn't always need to be a rationale, does there? Like, sometimes it's just, this feels good and I get a good connection and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like, the amount of times that I'll say to a client, like, how does this feel? How does this feel? And they're like, it feels mint. And I'm like, well, then don't worry about it. You don't need to change anything. Right. And they're like, like, is this right? Is this all right? Is this right? It doesn't matter. Like, if it feels good, and as long as you're not doing something that's going to hurt you, like, if it feels good and it's safe, then the form is fine. Like, majority of the time.
I'd literally say half the time, if a client just sends me a video and they don't actually say, any content behind it, I'm like, how does it feel? And they're like, yep, sound. I'm like, yep, that's cool then. Like, it looked okay. Like, this could be
if it looks like, that's completely off, and you know that it's not going to feel right, then you'll say. But more often than not, let's say like something like a single arm cable row, like loads of variations that you could do for that, and loads of ways that you could do it, and it might feel slightly different. But
initially, I thought on a cable row, it might have been one.
I thought it was one higher. But exactly. If you're getting a good connection in your lat, like, unless you're doing something completely wrong, then keep it as it is. Like, form's fine.
Yeah. So would you say listening to Bare Fitness and doing 12-second concentrics is probably the way?
I can't comment because I've not seen it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll do what like everyone else does, and the second I see it, I'll send it to you and be like, "Oh my god!"
And then we'll have a group chat, and we'll laugh at people in the group chat.
We'll make a group chat, just me and you. It'll be our chat, and that would just be a group chat. We'll have a normal chat, and we'll just have a group chat with just me and you, and then Team R Fit and FK Physiques. We just send it in like, oh, look at this, and then Team R Fit replies, oh, what fucking hell.
Then I'll comment on my own photo from my FK Physiques account, say with fire emojis, and then I'll post on my FK Physiques account, and I'll comment on it saying, "Fucking great work, guys."
Great work, boys. Clapping emoji, something like that. Awful. But yeah, that's pretty much that. How's training been? How's everything been, mate? Anything to report upon in the last week since we had the last one?
Not really, mate. Everything's going well. Feeling good. A little bit heavier.
221 this morning, weren't you?
221, mate, yeah. Heaviest I've ever been. Heaviest I've ever been. Oh, my God. All-time PB body weight.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to comment on. Like, literally, as I've said, past few weeks in an off season, like I've said this to clients a lot as well. Like they'll check in, they'll be like, "Mate, everything's going really well. There's not much to comment on." And I'll say to them, like, "That's a good check-in." So that is my check-in. I'm doing it on the Once You're In podcast. This is my check-in.
Not very in depth, mate. Come on, I need a bit more. Like
everything's going well. This is it.
No, that's it. Right, so no changes.
Everything's going well.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like they'll go through their check-in and they're pretty much like, yeah, this is bang on. Everything's bang on. Like literally feeling good. Training's going well. Getting stronger. Like everything's in a good spot. So as it should be. But yeah, nothing really to comment on.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm in a fairly similar spot, to be fair. The only difference is we threw in a high incline, like shoulder press, dumbbell press the other day. But everything other than that, I mean, I'm technically at my lifetime heaviest. I was 252 pounds upon weight this morning. So I was 114, I think 0.4 kilos. That's pretty much my lifetime heaviest, which is quite exciting. Definitely looking a little bit softer. Like I got to about 110 and I was like, oh, I'm still pretty lean. And in reality, my arms are lean, but I'm a bit softer, which is expected. But training's in a really good spot. And it's one of those where like food's high, body weight's still climbing. I'm not like pushing stupid amount of food into the point where like appetite's gone. And I always say like to clients and others, like a gaining phase will be halted by like mostly appetite and conditioning. And as long as you can maintain those relative to training performance going up, that's good. So there's no need for me to accelerate proceedings. Like with how things are at, I couldn't really ask to be in a better spot. And that's pretty much that for me. Like it's probably going to be a fairly steady climb now, like to probably about 125 kilos, which will be quite exciting. And then I might just get there and say, fuck it, I'm not doing physique anymore. I'm just going to go to classic and just put on an extra 50 pounds from that point. I won't be able to do that. I'd be a fat mess at like, imagine 300 pounds. I think that's 140 kilos. So imagine 25 kg on me now. Jesus Christ. That would be awful. But yeah, just normal kind of thing. So getting stronger, eating, and that's pretty much that. Nothing else to report. Anything that you wanted to mention, mate, or do you want to get into the questions? Anything that we spoke about? We did the first car live post-workout on Saturday. That was something different. So anybody who's listened to this, again, you would have missed out on this one because it comes out on Monday, but we're now doing an Instagram car live on Saturday, which is basically Cocoa Pops and chill post-deadlifts when we're absolutely battered and we can't feel our lower backs. So yeah, you can't really get too much better than that.
Make sure you tune in.
Make sure you tune in. 4 to 4.
Just chat about shit.
Yeah, pretty much like this, but a live version. And to be fair, it was, if anything, probably more unorganized because the questions were coming through and we didn't really know how to answer. So I think we'll get better. On this, it's our pace.
We didn't have time to pause it and Google it like we always do.
Yeah, exactly. If you actually watch the video, we make loads of cuts because people get asked questions and I'm like, Finn, what does that mean? Yeah, what does eccentric mean?
Let me pause it. Shit.
The worst thing is, mate, I've been asked by like other coaches stuff, and I'm like, I almost think at times how no, I don't want to be a dick, but it's almost a bit concerning.
You are.
So I might just reply back like, hey mate, as a coach, you
should know this, so I'm not going to give you the answer.
You should know this, and therefore,
mate. Well, it's like we've said this before about the industry. Like the barrier to entry is so low that anybody can be a PT or a coach. Absolutely anybody can be a coach. Obviously, as a PT, if you want to be a qualified PT, you need a proper qualification. But even then, like, it's not difficult to get that, is it?
No, definitely not. So, yeah, makes sense. Right, question time. I got like 12, 13. I got a fair few. Do you want to start off? We'll just work our way through. I know, I've got a fair few. But to be fair, I got a few. You know where
I got
2 questions.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 13.
I got 6, 9. Oh, mate, I've done you. To be fair, I got 15 actual question boxes, but like 3 of them are the same people. So like asking, so I don't know. I reckon we probably got fairly similar.
I would.
So yeah, no, right. You go first, mate. I got some good ones today, to be fair.
Did you?
Yeah.
This is from Ped. Good old Ped, hard trainer.
Hard Ped. I actually spoke to Ped, and he spoke to me again about natural macros, and I was like, Ped, please listen to the new podcast. And he was like, I've been busy, I haven't watched it, and now he's asking questions. Like, Ped, you haven't even watched the last podcast. Why are you answering questions to these ones?
In prep, how will you approach for not losing strength? Strength, I think he means.
Okay, so Finn would actually. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Keep same intensity with less volume or less frequency for body parts. So you can going hard, not hard, just hard, without the fear of not recovery. So basically, how can we approach training during a prep to maintain performance and muscle as much as possible?
Well, Finn's would be an actual like evidence-based answer, something that's quite like actually makes sense. Mine, because I use enhancement, would just be just up the dose, bro, or add something else, because that's all that you do when you enhance.
That is all that anyone does, yeah.
Yeah, literally no thought process at all. No, in all seriousness, to be fair, you actually could do what I just said if you're enhanced like that. That's the sad reality. You don't really need to do. You don't really need to be like, oh, you could do this. You could just be like, oh, just add this in, and you'll be sound. In reality, it would be a sense of keeping intensity as high as possible, and then you just want to pull volume down. So, for example, if you were to be on, let's just say hypothetically, you're doing chest once a week, and that session is 6 pressing sets. Let's say it starts off in 6 sets, it could then drop to 5 sets and eventually 4 sets. That's low volume. That's really low volume. But at the back end of my prep, I was doing pull once a week, and it probably was about 6 to 8 working sets in the session. And that literally started probably when it was maybe 15 to 16 pull sets per week, should we say, because it was pretty much 2 pull sessions that dropped to 1. So frequency did come down when needed, but in more so just overall weekly volume like kind of shifted down as recovery capabilities dwindled, as food got lower and energy availability got lower, and therefore recovery demands became a bit more challenging. And I also just upped a fuck ton of gear. That's all it was, just upping the dose every single week. I was like, right, not recovering, need more gear. Fucking hell, imagine.
I find it quite interesting because, like, I think people tend to say, like, the base, that is the common answer, which is true, like, and you should do that. That does make sense. Obviously, you don't add volume like during a prep. That's the last thing you want to do, because the quality is just going to drop off. Maybe in the final week, like running up to peak week, you might reduce intensity a little bit, just to reduce any inflammation. We're not trying to break any muscle down in that sort of last week. So you could look at doing a little bit less, or a little bit more volume, with slightly less intensity in that final week. But other than that, you want to be making sure that you're trying to hold performance, even if that means reducing volume, because the ability to hold on to your strength is going to help hold on to your amount of muscle. But, you know, what a lot of people tend to do is, as lower rep sets start getting tougher because of things like stability and things like power output, they'll just go higher reps. So they'll just be like, oh, rather than doing like a 4 to 6 anymore, I'll just do like a 10 to 15, and I'll just progress in that rep range, which makes sense because you think, well, you can still get a good amount out of it. But then on the opposite hand, you can think, well, actually doing a 10 to 15 could actually be detrimental, because the actual energy output on that set is going to be greater because it's a longer set. So the more time under tension there, obviously you're in the set for longer, so you're going to be burning more calories than if you're doing maybe let's say a 4 to 6 repper versus
but bro,
15.
That's why I'm doing a high rep set, to get shredded, burn calories. Yeah. Come on.
But it's quite like a interesting debate, because both of them make sense. Like you can't really say one or the other is right. So like if someone said to me, what should I do? Like there is no defined answer of just make sure you do lower reps or just make sure you do high reps or anything like that. You have to sort of adapt as you go. Yeah. You have to be very, very adaptive in a prep. You can't just be like, this is what I need to do and this is how I'm going to do it, because things change all the time. So yeah, I would say don't shy away from hard work and low rep sets, because if you can maintain your performance there, which is probably more likely than higher rep work, you'll be able to maintain your strength and therefore your size. But also, especially if the issue is like stability, for example, doing something like a dumbbell press, then exercise selection generally should change during a prep when it needs to. So you're probably not going to be wanting to do a dumbbell press or a barbell press or a barbell squat or anything like that in the last few weeks, or even the last maybe couple of months. If you're struggling to actually get the most out of that exercise, you're probably going to get more bang for your buck doing a machine or an exercise with a more stable environment. Yeah, there's quite a lot that actually goes into that, which I quite enjoy. That part of prep is like, how can we make sure we get the most out of it? Have you just written down all that to help for your own notes in the future, mate? Yeah.
No, mate, I got up my notes a week out from the first show. So it was actually quite interesting here. So like you mentioned, the low rep sets. So if I was to look at my last push session, 18th of September, 94.8 kilos, midday, 1 meal. I did 2 sets of a lateral raise, just literally 2 straight sets. I got an 8 repper and a 12.5 repper. So I actually failed a rep. Clearly I haven't recovered from there. Side back shoulder press, I took a 6 repper, then a 12 repper. Cable chest press, I took an 8 and a 13. And then I did 1 set of a clav fly, and then 2 sets of biceps, 1 set of triceps. And that was the session. My pull session, to mention that my pull sessions were like baseline volume. Standing hamstring curl, 1 set, single arm pull down, 1 set, 1 set of a stiff leg deadlift, 200 kg for 6. I wrote ... fucking hell. that was that. Watson T-bar row, 2 sets, 1 set of a pull down, 1 set of a rear fly, 2 sets of a bicep curl. So still taking sets that were lesser than like 10 reps. Like I remember, do you remember the prime incline press? I did like a set of 3 or 4 like in the last month to the show, and it was a bit annoying. It's only a 3 or 4 repper, but I think if I didn't do that, you naturally going to adapt to just utilizing lighter load, and your overall loading will come down, as you mentioned, which obviously there's going to be benefit and there's going to be kind of detriment to those sorts of sets. But I feel like literally the sort of like thought process of having just reps within like a 5 to 30 rep range, if less, and they're going to be sufficient, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And trainers, if you're going into a session, you're like, oh, I'm prepping, I'm a month out, I'm going to be weak. You probably are going to be quite weak. And in reality, it is a sense of more maintenance when you get into the home straight of a prep. And you would always opt for movements that kind of aid stability, that's for sure. But it definitely would dwindle. If I was to compare those numbers to when I, let's say, started prep, it would be completely different because recovery capabilities will change. So yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good answer. I'm going to answer, or do you know who DGI_fitness is?
DGJ.
Oh yeah, DGJ. I got it wrong. I couldn't see that. Big Dan the Gash. He's changed his Instagram handle. Dan, I didn't recognise you, mate. I thought I recognised the profile picture. Clicked on your account, and it is Big Dan the Gash. So he's asked, and this is a good question: can you talk through pre-show routine, show day food/water, how, when to pump up, etc.? What's it like backstage? How do you know when it's nearly time to go on? And do you need to take your own stuff to pump up, bands, dumbbells, etc.? And I'm guessing maybe Dan might be competing, or he wants to know, because I feel like that's probably a little bit more of a question that you'd ask, if you were actually going into it. Yeah. And if you want to share your insights, yours were weird because it was COVID times, wasn't it? So it was all a bit
bizarre, but it's not that different. So what was the first part? We'll answer it in parts.
Yeah. Can you talk through pre-show routine? So show day, food, water, how to, when to pump up, etc. I feel like, again, we said this, the likelihood of error of messing up on a show day is high if you're just making massive manipulations. You should be ready.
You don't want to change anything. Yeah. Minimal food.
Ready before.
Stay hydrated. Yeah. Like, don't do anything stupid water-wise. I think the best thing you can do is be ready a bit early and then eat up into the show. So you're not sort of trying to chase your tail in the last couple of weeks and like doing anything stupid to try and get leaner. Make sure you give yourself enough time, make sure you're lean enough, and then you can't really fuck it up. Even with the carb up and even with hydration, like if you give yourself a bit of time to actually assess the look and be like, right, let's push up, let's sort of linearly increase carbs over this week. Let's keep fluid at a normal level and see how we look. And the look will probably be really good because you'll be reducing fatigue and you'll be, filling up in terms of glycogen. And then you'll be like, right, I'm happy with this look. Now I don't really need to change anything. And probably eat up a little bit more. Yeah, eat up a little bit more in a couple of days prior, and then keep food relatively minimal on the day so that you can keep your midsection tight. Keep fluid, not minimal on the day, make sure you're hydrated enough, but don't be drinking like loads and loads of water so that you're bloated. But that's just common sense. In terms of things like tanning and hair removal, things like that, you'll want to get a base tan. Depends on the federation and the tanner and everything like that, but you'll want to get a base tan like the day before, usually. sometimes 2 days before, depending on when the availability is. You'll want to make sure that you've removed all your hair before that tan. Exfoliating like weeks, but I don't exfoliate weeks out.
Yeah,
So that you know
get
that you've
started,
all
so it's
dead
not
skin
challenging.
gone.
Yeah.
Even things like using like Sanex 0% shower gel to prevent the tan reacting with any form of like chemicals or anything that are in any like body wash product or anything like that. So that's going to help sort of prepare your skin and be in the best position possible for the tan and everything. And then, do you want to chat about backstage, mate?
Yeah, sure. So, to be fair, what I thought I'd actually do beforehand is, you know, like, for example, the build up to show days, what you mentioned, lesser changes. First 2 shows, it was where, like, I wanted to go in. We both said, like, let's just see how lean I can get. And then I basically we built food up into the finals. So it was a completely different approach to the finals in comparison to the 2 shows prior. 2 shows prior, it was just basically I was flat as anything, less food on the day, less food the day before. Finals, it was where I think I had like 2, I think I went in on like 500 carbs already because I had 2 like bowls of cereal, like 1 in the morning and then 1 about 3 hours before I got on stage. And then when it comes, so basically I just kind of built my food up, and it was like a linear, it wasn't even a linear load. Like my food from the first show was a linear load. It was 3 weeks of just slowly getting greater and greater in sense of carbohydrates, because I'd pretty much build my carbs up. Then like it would be where I was just building them up into that final show, which was a good one, because it almost meant that, again, as we said, like stress dropped off. I was already like where I need to be. If anything, I could have been probably a bit fuller. We both said even on the finals, I probably had an extra kilo or so that I could have been, which we would know for next time, which is the whole joy about actually competing and being able to track how you look and track data. The pre-show kind of, let's say backstage, it really depends on the federation. Two Bros is a lot more serious, should I say. So it's like, if you weren't on, and because you've got your music on and you're not paying attention, they don't care. Like, it's not where, and that's not a slight to Two Bros. That's literally just how it is. It's more
good. It's the standard, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how it should be. Like, it was completely different to PCA. PCA, they read your name out like 10 times. They come up to you. They ask if you know where you need to go. Like, the tanning ladies are proper lovely. It was almost where, like, you could tell that was not an entry level, because PCA is still a good quality kind of federation. Even though Finn says I won the Carabao Cup when I won the overall, but it's more of a they hold your hand throughout the process. Where Two Bros, it's literally like there's one girl. She shouts your number. If you don't hear your number, like, congrats, you're not stepping on stage, which just means you need to be switched on and actually have some actual kind of, like, you need to actually, either if you've got questions, you need to go up to someone and ask. But it was pretty simple. Like, they'll tell you usually when you're going to be on, roughly. It's always late. Like, the 3 shows that I got told, I feel like it was like between 45 minutes and like an hour late every time. And when it comes to the whole pump up, like, routine, etc., I would just say, like, firstly, you want to be hot. That's the one thing I always try and say. Like, you don't want to be cold. So for the finals, I literally had, out of every single person who was pumping up to go on, I was the only person still in my t-shirt, and I still had like 3 pairs of socks on, because when you lean, you're fucking freezing. So the last thing you want to be doing is going through glycogen stores, doing like sets of 50 when you're not going to be on for 30 minutes. Like, everyone was pumping up. I was literally sat on a bench. I think I was on Twitter, like, looking through some football stuff or whatever, and everyone was looking at me like, is this guy going to pump up? And I remember saying, like, we're not going to be on for another 20 minutes. So I always tried to leave it as late as possible, keeping myself like warm, still sipping on water. So because obviously if I'm a little bit hotter, it was actually quite hot when I had everyone around me. I was sweating already. So I was like, right, I'll get myself ready when need to. And it's almost where I kind of just did a very light pump up. You don't need to be doing a workout before. Like, it's not where you're doing push-ups into curls. You're literally doing sets of 20 with absolutely minimal intensity, just to move some blood into the area. And therefore you don't want to be going in like literally sweating like you've just done a workout, which, like I said, the vast majority of people probably, like, they did when I was there, and I'm guessing they might have done the same for you, but you're looking around and people are treating it like a workout like backstage. So that was that. I don't know if I've answered, if I missed anything else there, but yeah, they pretty much call your name. You know roughly when you go on. 15 minutes before, that's when I probably start very, very light pump up. Maybe 10 minutes before. I'd leave it as late as possible, and then you just want to go on full. And it's more so just a case of like building confidence up. Like, I always try and find, like, it doesn't matter when you're backstage if you're being a dick, you just look like a bellend. So I'm always quite confident. I was just chatting to people and trying to enjoy the process. Where I feel like certain individuals, it's very like game mode, game time, and it's
that was
like,
the life of the party, mate.
Yeah, just loosen up. Like, it's like the hard work's already done. Like, who the fuck cares? You might as well enjoy the moment of it. Like, it's one of those. Like, I came off after winning the overall in the first show, and I pulled my shorts up because the bodybuilders were after me, and I was like, lads, do you reckon I could fit in with you guys? And they were like, no. And I was like, cheers, sound. I just won the overall.
We
I'll
all
take
thought,
myself.
what a fucking twat.
No, it was a joke. Like, they. And to
You
be
told
fair,
me.
considering how some of them were, I probably actually would have done half of them on my legs. So I'll take that. Yeah, imagine they said no, and I'd be like, well, I fucking won the overall. I didn't see you win it. Carabao Cup champion over it. Imagine. But yeah, anything that you want to add in? He also asked, I should mention, do you take your own stuff to pump up? Yeah, you can. There's bands everywhere for both shows that I did because people just leave them and there's stuff available there. But it's in best interest to take bands because you don't want to be fighting over bands, just so you've got your own set and therefore you've got your own kind of availability when it comes to not having to, like I said, fight over equipment available. So yeah. Cool. Good question. Good question. Even a better answer. DGJ Fitness. That's
so he literally just put on mine, I'm going to have to change my Insta handle. Just realised it sounds like a joke name. So he obviously has changed it.
Fair enough.
Why was it Dan the Gash?
Yeah. No,
surely that was a jokey name. It wasn't. Surely that wasn't a serious name.
Someone said, he goes, what's your Insta handle? He goes, Dan the Gash. And he went,
you wouldn't be like,
laughing?
Surely
why the fuck are you laughing?
Maybe his middle name's there. Maybe his middle name's there and his surname's Gash.
Yeah.
This is the one that I was on about earlier from Halo Jim Harvey. He messaged me saying, you do know my cock small is Mike Cocksmall.
Yeah, he did say to me.
Did you see Wilma Fist Fit? Most recent post on Instagram about RAR versus failure training. Sure, even if we hadn't have had my cock small last week, I'd have realised that. I wouldn't have gone Wilma Fist Fit. I wouldn't have gone,
yeah. Oh god,
you're gonna have to give it a bit of time, and like people are gonna have to chuck them in randomly. You can't be asking them after we got done by my cock small.
Yeah, we took an L.
We didn't see Wilma Fist Fit Instagram post, mate.
No,
I'll ask another one. This is from Gio Ashley, who got us with my cock small.
Fucking Gio Ashley, is he coming again?
He's done us.
Fucking done us.
What would you say is each other's biggest strength and weakness?
This is a good one. Quite like this.
Reese's personality.
Strength. Thanks, mate.
Biggest weakness.
Oh fuck. Right. Cheers. Strength. I never actually thought about this.
Not anything.
It wouldn't be fucking loyalty because whenever I've been offered for a fight in the gym, you always ditch me. So that would probably be a weakness. Like me 3 weeks out from a show, a guy coming up to me, do you think you're fucking funny? Finn runs off.
Was that 3 weeks out?
No, I was about a month out. I remember I was so low on energy. I was like, I can't be fucking.
You shouldn't be laughing at people and taking the piss. It's not my fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not my fault you're a twat. I'm not going to get beat up for you being a twat.
Finn just runs off. He's like, "Oh fucking hell, Reese is getting a bit of a scrap. Let's run. Leave Reese on his own. Like literally defend for his life against, to be fair, an absolute fucking unit, mate. He's huge. 6'4", 400 pounds. You know, fucking huge. You would have done, mate. Yeah. You know what, mate? I'm going to be nice. I'm going to say strength. I'm going to say mental resilience. I think mentally you are a strong individual. I'd say that. And then weakness. I
thought we were just doing physique, to be honest, but cheers.
I thought we were doing traits. Okay, fair enough. We're doing physique.
We can do traits.
We'll do both if you want. Strength, arms, I'd say. Weakness.
Everywhere else.
Yeah, no, it's got to be calves, but calves are such a shit. Like everyone's got shit calves.
Yeah,
so,
I would say if we don't include calves, I'd say
because calves are easy. Anyone, probably hamstrings. I'd say quads aren't too bad. Hamstrings, yeah. And then your weakness when it comes to like a personality trait. To be fair, mate, I actually don't think you're that bad. You used to be quite short.
Too funny.
Too funny. Yeah. Just too funny.
Just a bit too funny, I think. Like, it's like in a job interview. I'm just too dedicated. What's your main weakness?
You're actually overqualified.
I'm just too punctual. I just turn up too early.
Yeah, definitely. Considering you were 20 minutes late to the podcast today.
Yeah, because of you.
Yeah, definitely, all my fault.
It
That's
has a knock-on effect.
Always your okay. That's your weakness. Your ability to actually take like self-criticism when it comes to like
blame
anything
you
else.
on
Just
everything.
externally blame. It's like, why did you do this? Reese's fault. What? Oh, hey Finn, you haven't got my check-in over today. Is that all right? Yeah, sorry mate, it was Reese's fault.
Reese's fault.
Anything that's your fault, it's like Reese's fault. Reese's fault. I feel like you just love to blame me for everything. So
yeah, no. So today. The reason that I'm late to the podcast, it's not your fault really, is it? But your session of physio did run until 15:15.
Yes, but we could argue you came in at like 5:15 and mine didn't have to. We were sat on the floor talking while I was stretching. Like, you know
I told you to fuck off numerous times.
But that's not the thing with me. That's Aaron.
Get the fuck out, and you were laughing.
Aaron pushes it back, and I'm like, you know.
I said, it's not funny. I said, get the fuck out, and you were laughing about it. And I said, are you starting? Do you remember? And we had a fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, to be fair, then you ran off and you did what you did.
Yeah. I ran into the toilets and I was like, "Oh, that's all right, mate. I've forgotten about it. I need a wee. I need a wee."
That's what it was. Right. So, mate, now come on, end me, ruin me, make me go to bed crying.
If you want.
Yeah, okay, big boy. Enough. That's what I said. Make me go to bed. I didn't have to say crying at a good reason or a bad reason.
Strengths. You could say the same thing. Mental resilience, work ethic, but I mean that's the same for me. I'm just gonna do my strengths. No, I do. I think to be fair, like you are quite relatively like level-headed. Like you don't let things piss you off or stress you out or whatever, which is good. In terms of a weakness, you are massively up your own arse.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. Like, I do egg it on intentionally.
Yeah,
like, I'm not being serious.
You can be like, even if you like, it's one of them. It's like a fine line between arrogance and confidence. But like, you're obviously confident, which you should be. Like, I'm confident. Like, it's good to be confident. But yeah, I think like there's nothing wrong with being happy with how you look and wanting to show off how you look. But it is a bit annoying when every 5 seconds you're like, "Oh mate, look at this photo of me. Look at this." Like, yeah, I've seen
it. You did the exact same thing to me yesterday. You were like, "Oh, look at this back shot."
I'm like, "Look how fat I am. Look how fat I am. Tell me to diet. Why are you against me?"
I just don't mention it. Yeah, it's like when when like someone who's like, "Oh, look at this," and you're like, "Oh yeah, you're being fucking cocky." When I do it, I'm just, "Oh yeah, mate, that's sound." You know. That's how it is. But no, to be fair, it is that fine line. And I feel like externally, if you were to look in, you'd be like, fucking hell, he's a bit up his own arse at times. And in reality, it probably is a little bit, but it's more so just being quite confident in what you do. And I think it can be perceived in a negative fashion, when in reality, I think if you do everything with full confidence, you probably will be actually better as what we're supposed to kind of be getting after. So,
yeah. Your physique.
And then, physique weakness, abs are shit.
Yeah.
PCA
your abs, or the fact that your delts are a bit too side delt dominant.
Yeah. I feel like my delts, if they were to give me my side delt at like 10% less and give me a bit more front, I'd be happy. But then my fronts look worse because my sides kind of push it out and then my front look a bit wank. So yeah. I never thought I'd say my delts were a weakness, but the ratio split between
it's like the same with my arms. Like my arms make my side shots still they're not as bad, but they still make my side shots look a bit off because they make my lower body look small.
Yeah.
Like, so you can your strengths. It's like an interview. They are your biggest strengths are your biggest weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to lead into another question. Now we have to build the best physique out of yourself and Finn from Will Bertolini Fitness.
Fucking hell, Will, come on, mate. Don't do this to me. You know how this is going to go. I don't think people realise the difference in, like, I think when people see us in person, if they were to see us pose against each other, they'd be like, oh, shit. Like, Reece is a lot bigger than me. Like, a lot bigger than I don't think people realise. And I hate to admit it, but he's a big cheat. So we wouldn't ever be able to. We're not even allowed to pose against each other because, like, it's just not allowed. Reece is a cheat, so it's not fair. I'm a natty. I'm a big natty. If people didn't know.
Yeah.
So
how heavy are you, mate? And are you natural?
I'm 221 pounds, and I'm natural, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's
I am
impressive
natural as well. I am natural. Yeah.
Yeah, you're natural as well. You got to say you're natural. Finn's going to start putting up natural push session.
Any conversation that you have with anybody, if you're natural, you need to tell them.
Yeah, Cybex shoulder press, 6 plates per side. Natural, by the way.
Natural, by the way, guys.
Yeah, natural, by the way, on this.
Well, in all honesty, like if we were going to do this,
glutes and testicles.
I'm not
probably got bigger both than that.
Yeah. But
glutes and testicles.
It's just because I store fat on my glutes.
Yeah. No, I would say your glutes. Your glutes are better than mine. My glutes are probably stronger, but your glutes are better. Trust me, your glutes are better.
Yeah, you know, yours are better.
No, your glutes are better. Yeah, glutes.
Yeah, fine. I'll take that.
Arms, I'd say in relation to your body, yeah, but I think your arms are shaped better than mine. Like, if that makes sense. I think your insertions are good, like really good. Your arms. My triceps are better. Your biceps are better than mine. Your bicep insertions are far better than mine. I'd take your biceps.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah. So biceps, glutes, testicles, abs. Got to be abs. Like, we're both not that good with abs, to be fair. Like, your abs are a little bit uneven anyway. Mine aren't. Like, I just don't have any lower abs. So we're not really picking like the creme de la creme when it comes to abs. We're like going to the bottom of the barrel. You know, it's like at the end of like, you know, like an NFL draft. And they're like, oh, we'll just take it. You know, the end of like when you're picking a team on like for football, and you're like, oh, you've got 3 kids, and they're like, he's fat and can't run, and he's pretty. He doesn't even know how to play football. So you're like, right, we'll pick him. We'll put a shift in. That's what.
Am I the one that's fat and can't run? Yeah,
mate. You'd be the goalkeeper at this point. That's what it would be.
I quite like playing in goal. I was good in goal.
Rush goalie. Decide halfway through, I'm getting bored. I'm going on a run.
Yeah.
That's what.
Right, we've done that. So basically, Reese's physique, and then I'll do the top up bits here and there.
Yeah, that'd be sound. Cool. Right, your question, mate.
Which one thing you would change about your genetics / structure for bodybuilding? Quite similar to what we've just been chatting about.
My structure's pretty all right, to be fair. I wouldn't really change anything about my structure. I mean, like, if you're going to be honest, you'd literally give yourself the smallest waist and the widest shoulders ever. Like, if you were to be perfect for bodybuilding, physique, classic physique, whatever, you'd be like, right, just give me the best ratio from like my waist to my shoulders. That's going to literally, no matter what class you do, going to help you in a physique standpoint, that's for sure. But if I was to be able to change anything, I'd probably change my quad shape so I could maybe do classic, and I'd just kind of get me with a little bit more of an outer sweep, get my quads popping a little bit more, kind of push the actual tissue I have, because I have a decent amount of quad tissue. It's just more condensed, and they're not shaped as well as they could do. So push that out a little bit, stretch it out, and I'll be happy with that. That's what I probably would go for. Or give me some lower abs. That's what I'd probably mention. What about yourself, mate?
I would actually be able to connect with my calves.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Without just feeling like it's burning the outside of my my left leg. that'd be nice to be able to get a good connection. To be honest, like, I don't think I'm not genetically good, but I'm also not bad. Like, yeah, it'd be nice, like you said, to have wider shoulders and a smaller waist and everything like that. But realistically, we're not all going to be able to do that.
Diaz is starting for Liverpool, and so is Thiago. That's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God. Can you not interrupt me in the future, please?
Nah, sorry, mate. I just had that. I saw that the team came out. Fucking Luis Diaz, mate. And Thiago. Fantastic. Right. Sorry. Carry on.
No. You've been rude.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
So genetics. That's what
yeah. There's not anything that I'd change that much, to be honest. Like, I feel like you could go through everything now and just pick if you think like that, you'll just pick your physique apart and be like, oh, I want this. And even the biggest and the best bodybuilders, like if you ask Big Ramy that question, he'd probably be like, oh, well, my shoulders could be a bit wider, my waist could be a bit smaller, this could be a bit better. Like, you just pick yourself apart. I think he did ask.
I don't think he probably would say that. His English isn't too good, mate.
Yeah,
so.
It'd be similar to that. But he did say one thing. So in all honesty, like, it would be to be able to train my calves more effectively. Not that would necessarily make them grow more, but I've always struggled with actually connecting with them. Whereas pretty much every other body part, I'm like, yeah, I can connect with really well.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. What muscle group do you reckon you connect best with?
Probably either. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't. All of them.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I don't struggle to connect really with any body part.
Yeah.
I think if I did, it would more so be the exercise or the execution rather than me struggling to connect with that body part.
Yeah. And if you can't, 12-second concentric.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So, Toby Warner, some people say there's no point using a reverse band, and then some people always use it. What are your thoughts on it? I feel like we've answered this question like this before. But it's fairly similar, like to what we'd say before. Like, do you need to reverse band? No. Like, we don't reverse band all our movements. The whole thought process is to basically manipulate the resistance profile so it kind of aligns with what you'd want out of that exercise. That's pretty much how it's that. There's going to be benefit to it. It makes sense in certain areas. Other individuals, like, can you get a real good physique without ever reverse banding? Yes. Do I think it's rushed with certain individuals at times? Yes. But then if it's a better alternative, why wouldn't you utilize it? I think it was Hypertrophy Coach put like a post up about it months ago. And it's like, why, like, you hear people say, oh, like Nautilus, that's such a good bit of kit. And like people wonder why, but then they diss on like reverse bands. Like you wouldn't want to, if you had a Nautilus chest press and a Matrix chest press, you'd jump on the Nautilus one, wouldn't you? But that's because it's better suited to most individuals in comparison. And therefore you could argue the same about a reverse band. A reverse band would most likely be better suited in certain circumstances over a regular kind of press, or let's say a hack squat example. So yeah. Anything to add on the reverse band?
No, that's spot on. But then there's a line where people just use it for everything. And it's like, that doesn't even make sense. That's not even going to improve the profile. The profile's already spot on, or you're actually making it worse. Or
in a double band Smith squat.
Double band Smith squat's not great. Or people will be like they'll be using like a red band on like a 200 kilo leg press. And it's like, the band's not doing anything. Like you need to actually try and match up the load from the band with the machine, otherwise it's pointless. Like if
what we did during lockdown and had every single what we did during lockdown had every single band we had available to us.
Yeah, and it actually made the shortened range of, like, you could actually noticeably feel it. I think people use bands.
You no weight, and it was brutal.
It's not like. It's not as simple as, we want to try and manipulate this profile, just use a green band or just use this band. It's like, well, it's going to depend on the exercise. It's going to depend on the load that you're using, how strong you are. Generally, the stronger that you are, the more tension you're going to need from the band, whether that be reverse banding or top banding. Yeah, there's more to it than just, that makes sense. It depends on a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
So Josh Taylor asked, Arnold Classic Open top 5 predictions. Now, I know you don't follow it, so I'm going to tell you people that are in it.
I do. No. I do follow it. I wouldn't know the people who are doing it. That's the thing. Like, get it up, mate. And
I've got it up now. I wouldn't have known a few of them. Okay. Bonac, Rafael Brandao, which is that Brazilian guy, Max Charles, Brandon Curry, Samson, Nathan, but I'm pretty sure he's not doing it because he's injured. I'm pretty sure I saw that on Instagram. Regan, Steve Kuklo, Cedric, Fabio, another Brazilian guy. I don't actually know him. Justin Rodriguez.
Fabio, the left back. Rafael's
Fabio, Rafael's brother. Justin Rodriguez, Mohamed, the Egyptian guy. I think he's Egyptian.
Mohamed Salah,
yeah. Imagine him on the stage. Two-face, he's quite shredded.
He's got some sick delts. Like, he's got serious delts on him.
Brett Wilkin and Hakimi. And Hakimi, the right back. Just all footballers.
Recent team of the year on FIFA. That's all I know him from.
He scored some lovely free kicks at the AFCON.
Did it? I haven't even seen them. Fair enough. Didn't even know he was a dead ball specialist.
Hakimi, mate. Ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. I watched the highlights every morning when it was on.
Watched him in person. He was insanely quick. Like, I can't remember who was City's left back. It was Cancelo. Burnt him like 3 times. And Cancelo
you hate Cancelo.
Yeah, Cancelo.
Right.
He's a ball.
Come on then. Just use your top 5.
Oh, mate, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's going to win his own show. I just started listing all these. Ronnie's going to come out in a wheelchair. He's going to do well. To be fair, mate, give me your top 5 and I'll say if I have any objections. I'd have to get names Are you on Instagram? Is there a page that you read it from, or anything?
I'm gonna share it.
Okay, yeah, share it.
I'm not on Instagram, but I've got this up. So I think I'm gonna go Brett Wilkin to win it. I think Brandon will be second. Brandon Curry. Yeah. To be fair, I think I'm only saying Brett because I like him. But it's like when Nick competes, I'm like, yeah, Nick will win. But realistically, like Willie, like when it was the Olympia, I was like, yeah, Nick will beat Ramy. Like I want Nick to beat Ramy, but I didn't think he would. So I'll tell you what, I'll say Brandon, and then Brett will be second.
I like Brett. He's come up a long way. He's the recent progress he's made is fucking ridiculous.
He is good. Then probably.
I think Regan's going to bring it eventually. You don't think he's going to do it?
I don't really rate him. Like, I think every time it's like people expect him to be better than he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go Brandon 1, Brett 2, Bonac 3, Cedric 4.
How old Cedric now? Like
quite old.
He's got to be like the James Milner of bodybuilding. Like, come on, man! Like your legs have gone in both ways.
It depends, doesn't it? Because if he's on it, he's mint. But
yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
And then maybe Samson, just so we've got an English guy. So Brandon, Brett,
what show
Bonac,
did Samson
Cedric,
win last
Samson.
year?
Huh?
What show did Samson win last year?
I can't remember which it was.
For some reason, I think it's like, was it the Arnold Classic in England? I think it was.
No, because Nathan beat him.
Yeah. He won a show. Was it the week after? It was like Tampa something?
It was like the week after. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. I remember it was his posing routine was mint. That was for the Arnold as well. But yeah, he was spot on. He was really good. To be fair, it's such the elite level. Like, I'm not going to say that fucking Fabio is going to win.
But mate, any of honestly,
that's the thing.
Justin,
all of these guys
could easily be very close, and Regan could. Steve Kuklow's mint, and has been before. He could be pushing for the top 3. Like it's
difference between these guys is like marginal. It's like who they pick on the day. Like if they were, for example, if they were to go for condition, it might be completely different top 3 in comparison if they would just go by size. But they're all fantastic individuals. So like if we were to get our top 5 completely wrong, then fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that's that. Right, I've actually lost out on the questions, mate. Give me a second. If you've got yours, feel free to get them up.
Will Bertolini, at what point did you feel comfortable to prep your first client?
I think he asked the question. I think he might have asked that to me last time. I feel like, again, I've read that before. And obviously, you competed the year before. I competed last year. And to be fair, it's interesting. Like, I actually say, like, I've had a few clients who have mentioned, obviously, I had a client literally sign up, a young teen who's going to be doing a show at the back end of the year. He's not actually started yet, but he signed up literally in the last few days. And I kind of said to him, like, you're the kind of individual, even though he's a teen, I was like, that I want to be working with. Like, you almost have to take a bit of a punt and think, well, we said it like coaching's one of those that you don't really get too much loyalty, and we put in a lot of work into our individuals, and that will suit a lot of people. However, if we were to go off actual coaching, like not qualifications but experience, there's going to be coaches out there that are prepped loads and loads of people year on year, but you have to get your first few up, and we're pretty much entering into the point where a year ago we'd be like, fucking hell, the fact that we both competed, the fact that we'll be having people on stage this year together, like not in the sense of like compete, like coaching them together, but the fact that we're getting people on stage is going to be really exciting. And likewise, you got Sonny and Slater on stage last year, and that's through confidence that you built up through going through multiple fat loss phases with other individuals, going through gaining phases, coaching in general, and actually being an experienced coach. If you were to go into a coaching game and think, I'm a prep coach, you're probably not going to get the individuals that you want, but you build up your name, you build up kind of your experience, then you're at a position where you think it's not where all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, I could prep someone, but it's that natural evolution of coaching, and that's almost what I'd look towards. So it wasn't a set point of time where I'm like only taking on prep clients or something like that. It was something that like. Do you think you need to have competed yourself in order to? No, I wouldn't say so. I think it helps. I think it definitely helps because, for example, Dan, he asked about pre-stage routine. Like, imagine if Dan was to go to a coach and he was not to know, and he was like, "Oh, mate, what do you do pre-stage?" And he was like guessing or whatever. It'd be a right ball. Like,
yeah. So you can say you don't need to, but I do think it is massively beneficial.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Like,
like,
I
you
also
can be
think as well, like,
yeah, if you've walked the walk,
yeah, like that. But also, like, you can understand what physiologically is happening to the body, but you don't know how it feels.
yes.
So, like, physiologically, I know what happens to the body if you have a heart attack. I don't know how it feels. Yeah, I know it's not the same, but you know what I mean? It's similar. Like, in terms of if you haven't experienced it yourself, you can't relate that well. So imagine if you had a coach, like, I know I'd struggle if someone was coaching me saying, right, you know, you're going to feel like this, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. If they'd not been through it themselves, I would never be like, well, you do it. Like, I'd never be like that because it's just immature. But I almost think I'd be like, I'd be questioning things more, and I'd be like, is this normal? Is this normal? Is this normal? If I'd not known that they've experienced it numerous times, or at least they've experienced it with other people, and they knew, you know, what that sort of feeling was like. So, yeah, I do think you're going to feel a lot more confident in terms of prepping people once you've been through it yourself, because you can be like, you know, you can relate a lot more and you can understand, you know, how the individuals are going to feel. That's not the only thing. There's a lot of other things, but I do think that is important. Yeah. But then you could argue there's people who have just competed once and then go and coach, and the coaching prepping people, it's like literally don't have a clue what they're doing. Their coach, they either didn't have a coach or their coach was shit, and now they're prepping people and they're putting them on stupid low calories, and they don't know a clue about like how to manage their fatigue or how to feed up into the show, or they're telling them to fucking get dehydrated 2 days out and shit like that. So yeah, it's not just about whether you've competed, but it does help. I think that will help in terms of confidence.
No, I agree. That's a good one. That was it. There's no other question there. Like, we answered that.
Yeah, I was just looking at mine because I think I've only got like a couple more, but you go.
Right. DP Fit, big DP. Do you think people can call themselves bodybuilders if they haven't competed? Well, yeah, they can. They definitely can. But like, if I was to play football and do whatever you want. But if I was to play football on a Saturday and it wasn't professional, and I was to go around saying I'm a footballer, then I'm also a weapon as well. So I wouldn't be saying I'm a bodybuilder until like you actually are probably a bodybuilder. I think a lot of people, they just train and they're like, I'm a bodybuilder. And it's like, well, you can call yourself a bodybuilder.
I'd say I'm a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't think I'm. I don't think
like, if people ask me like, what do you do? I'd tell people I train and like, I compete, and but I would never go, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a natural bodybuilder. Yeah. Like, I just think I'm not really. That's not who I am. Like, that's not the only thing that I am or I do.
No.
Like, it's good to get a bit deep and be like, you know, I'm me. I'm they. I have no gender. Okay. But yeah, I just think it's that, you know, you could say you're a bodybuilder because you are building your body. So anybody could say that. But
yeah, I'm also a dirty cheat of a bodybuilder. So that's what it is. I'm a cheating bodybuilder. That's
also, I just think like when you're saying stuff like that, like, can people say this? Like, doesn't really matter, does it? People can say what they want. People can do what they want. Doesn't really matter.
You say what you want. Like, again, like I think the football thing is clear. If you're playing football for a Saturday league, you shouldn't be going around saying I'm a footballer. If someone was to say, "Oh, I'm a footballer," I'd be like, "Oh, that's mint, mate. What team do you play for?" You know, and
I just play on a Sunday.
I just play five-a-side once a week. I'd be like, "Well, you're not a footballer. That's a hobby." Like, it's the same as training. Like, even if you've competed, I don't really think it. Like, I've competed. I don't think I'm a bodybuilder. Like, if I was a pro, I'd probably say I'm an IFBB pro bodybuilder, but I wouldn't be like, "Yeah, I'm a bodybuilder." You should be able to look at me and be like, "He's fucking big." You know, I wonder why. That's what it should be. Like, that's what you should. You know what I mean? It's one of those. So, yeah. I've got a few more from Dan, but I'll go into them if we get a minute. I might leave them, to be fair. We've answered one, Dan, so hopefully that's fine. We'll see. I've also got a good one from Chloe. I'm gonna do Chloe's and I'm gonna leave Dan's for next week because he's asked two more, and they're good questions, but we'll leave them for next week. What's your final for you, mate?
You do Chloe's then.
Okay. She's asked. She actually sent me a voice note. I think last night, actually. Based off this, and she goes, "What would you look for in a training partner? / would you compromise on anything?"
Mate, that's so weird.
Oh, did she ask you the same stuff?
No, Mackenzie asked me what. Literally, hope you're both doing well. What should you be looking for in a training partner? Asking about pros and cons, things like that.
That's weird. There we go. Mackenzie, I know you might have to fly in to train with Chloe, or Chloe, you have to fly out to train with Mackenzie. But that's literally just a match made in heaven, right?
Not that
there.
far. I reckon Mackenzie just pre-session, get on a flight to the UK and train.
Or
it's only like driving to Ultraflex.
Yeah, they just meet in the middle, like 4-hour flight either way.
Yeah.
Sound. You know what I mean?
Where would that be?
What, I don't even know.
It'd be like South Africa.
Yeah. So Tunisia. Is that I think that's not south. That's north, I think.
Well, South Africa, the actual country.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I'm trying to think of Africa in general. my geography,
northern,
just great to see.
North East Africa. They could meet in Egypt or Nigeria.
Yeah, some good gyms in Nigeria.
There are some good gyms in Nigeria.
Yeah. You look left, you see Obafemi Martins. You're like, oh, fantastic. How you doing, Oba?
He's got a good gym. I heard he's like Huber in Nigeria. He runs an Ultraflex.
Imagine, that'd be hilarious. So yeah, and then she asked how, I don't know, and then she also said, if Finn didn't meet your expectations, so like, would I make compromises? So like, if Finn was poor with timing, would I like let that slide? And then she put, also, can you find me one, please? Well, we've already found you one, Chloe, so there's that.
Jamie, the only thing is, she lives in Australia.
So she lives in Australia. So like, you've won, but you've also lost, because it's like a bit of a price to pay. So I think that the training partner one's an interesting one. I definitely look for someone who's got similar goals, trains the same as you. I actually said to her on a message, you'll struggle to find girls who train as hard as you. That's pretty simple. Like, she can take sets to failure. She trains well. You would struggle to find girls who train similar. And therefore already, not saying like it's a bad thing as a female, it's just, and there's plenty of females that train hard, but there's probably lesser so that would be able to match Chloe and her strength. She's strong and she trains really well. And when it comes to like compromising, it would depend on what's worth it to you. Like we've always said, we wouldn't train with each other if we started, like if it was negative towards our own training. It would be like, right, mate, like we'll still be cool, but it's probably best if we train on our own. And like, fortunately, I'd say that probably won't happen. Like, you never know. It might be where I just get so strong that I just outgrow Finn and I just ditch Finn for another cheater, because he just can't keep up with me. But in reality, no, it will be where me and Finn will most likely train with each other for a very long time. And it's where it's positive for both of us. So I'd look for similar goals, similar aspirations, similar training level. And it depends on what you want to compromise on. What would you say, mate?
Yeah, like Mackenzie asked, like, I'm going to just, because she asked very similar. So she said, what would you be looking for? Pros and cons. Do you think you'd make more progress with a training partner versus training solo? So like you say, in terms of, what I'd look for, someone that's not a dick, someone that doesn't take away from, like, there's no point training with someone if it pisses you off and if it takes away from your session. Like, if you train on your own and you think and you enjoy it, don't be looking for a training partner. Like, you don't need one. Like, we could train on our own easily. Yeah, our training sessions would still be very good. We'd still progress at the same rate, realistically. I don't think it'd be any different, because the only difference is it's just nice to have, maybe a bit more, almost not even like, it's not like, it's almost like, just the way I like to see it is like, when, like, for example, when I get to the gym or when you get to the gym, it's like, right, we're both here, let's get on with it. Whereas if you get to the gym on your own, you might sit on your phone for 5 minutes and then you might be like, oh, right, I best get started. Like, whereas you've almost got that reliance and that sort of accountability with the other person. Like, right, we're here at this time, we're starting at this time, we know what we're doing, and like those kind of things, which wouldn't change that much on your own. But sometimes it's if you've got that other person there, like, it's just nice to like, right, I have to be there at this time, and I have to, and it helps keep you accountable to that, which is good. But yeah, it shouldn't really make that much of a difference. I
also, all right, see you in a bit. The usual weekly. See you later.
See you, mate. Right, that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah, no, to be fair, we do need to wrap up in a minute. But when it comes to, like, I also think as well, with where our level's at now, we could train on our own and we'd be sound. I would say, though, the reason why me and you, in not to get too emotional, have quite a special bond, is I feel like we've built up our training together. So, like we've said before, like, you set the standards and you build upon that. And I don't think, honestly, we would have been in the same spot in all aspects if we hadn't trained together over the last few years, because we've almost pushed each other without even really noticing, So, like, with where we're at now, we could take that and train on our own and probably be quite sound. But I feel like because we grew together quite well when it came to our training over the last few years, it's been where, like, we built up and we're like, right, well, you've done that, I need to do that, you need to do that, I need to do that. And it's just kind of worked on top of each other to now where we've kind of progressed a lot faster in the sense of how we trained, how we are. in a lot of areas quite fast, and therefore that's almost one thing that like is quite beneficial. It's nice to think about when you know, so again, not to get too emotional.
Yeah, but like you say, you're probably going to struggle to find.
We've always said we're quite lucky, like that me and you are very similar. We live close, and like it's where it kind of is like not a match made in heaven like yours and Mackenzie's, Chloe, but it is definitely a good match. Like it's rare. Like there's not, out of everyone I know, if you were to say, right, swap Finn for anybody, like male, that I'd be like, not really.
Or female, Sanaya. Is that why you said male? Because female, you've already swapped me, haven't you?
No, I more meant like a like for like swap for you. So like, you know, Sanaya's a cheat as well, mate. We can't be saying Sanaya. Like I wouldn't want to train with a cheat.
Don't be telling everyone that, mate. Everyone thinks Sanaya's natty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Sanaya's probably going to be, Reece, why'd you say that? I'm going to get in trouble now. But no, it also...
I'm not cutting it out.
No, don't cut it out. Cut that. Imagine cutting it out this deep into the podcast. The only real ones are listening. Will Bertolini shared our story on Wednesday.
I know. That was good, wasn't it?
That's class. I like
Legend.
Will's gone up. Right. Is that it, mate? Have you got all your questions, answers, stuff like that?
Yeah, I've actually got through them all. Yeah, that was good.
Perfect. Yep, sound. That's spot on. Well, that's that. Anything you want to leave us on, mate? Or should we wrap this up?
No, mate. You can wrap it up and get off and watch football.
Lovely. Liverpool playing Leicester in 9 minutes from now, so I'm gonna literally I've already made my cream of rice, but I'm gonna hop in the car to go to the office. It's about 2 minutes away. Cheers again, guys, for listening. Thanks to all story tags and questions. We've got a fair few. I'll get round to the rest of mine next week. Probably won't put up a question box, and obviously that's just because I'm more popular than Finn, where Finn just managed to get not many. So maybe give Finn some ones next week. That's for definite. But other than that, again, thanks to everyone who's listened. Thanks for story tags. Look forward to welcoming you back in the next episode.